Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadcast.gg Scrib Nights. We're here during Overwatch League, but still, we'll have a scrim for you. Should be good. So these two teams, Midnight Six and Eclipse Esports. Let's take a look at Midnight Six first. Oh wait, I are you there? Rapture? Panda? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Broadcast.gg Scrib Nights. Sorry about that. It seems like Discord did not want to cooperate. So I'm joined today by Rapture
Hey, how's it going?
and Panda,
Hello.
and we should have a good match right now. Midnight Six versus Eclipse Esports. Let's take a look at Midnight Six first. Rapture.
I hope you don't jinx us there, Ben. I'm definitely anticipating a good set nonetheless. A Midnight Six, they're going to be boasting a 3.6 SR average squad of Count Ravioli, Rocket. Well, actually, they have a slightly different squad from what they posted in here, but they definitely are running with Crimson Rocket, Aptus, Wordplay, the Count, and Hot Beverage. Team's been around for about a month or so, and wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the open division. Definitely favoring Dive, which isn't a surprise considering the meta that we're in. So also not surprised that they like Control. And like almost every other team, as I was talking to these guys earlier, they dislike Assault. So it'll be interesting because I'm sure that the other team that we're going to see that Panda's going to talk about just in a moment also doesn't like Assault. So when we eventually get onto those maps, we'll see how they fare. But Panda, how's Eclipse Esports looking?
Eclipse Esports looking, much like the Midnight Six. They've only been together for a few weeks. Tail Yellow was previously on a previous team. This team is just a ragtag group of people that really have come together, played a lot of pugs together. They've had a few games and experience together. But what I'm mostly interested in, like you said, is how much this team and the other team does not like Assault maps in particular, but the ones that we need to be focusing on mostly would be Maverick and Brack, especially on the Genji and Tracer respectively for projectile and hit scan specialists. It's going to be interesting to see how these two teams just duke it out, all honesty, both teams being more or less just equal as a 3.8k average team. It's going to be interesting nevertheless.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this map pool here. We are going to be going through the open division map pool. We're going to start out with Control on Lijiang Tower, followed by an Escort, Assault, Hybrid, then another Control to round things off.
Yeah, and that's just slightly different from what Overwatch League is running in terms of the order of maps, which is happening right now. LA Gladiators taking on Shanghai Dragons. I know, Panda, you want Shanghai Dragons to win, so, and I'm rooting for the Gladiators, so I'm interested to see how that'll turn out once we're done casting here. We'll see the result of that, but looks like we're probably going to be going to Lijiang Tower for our first map as we dive right into this. Thank you all for tuning in to Broadcast.gg. Midnight Six in the blue, taking on Eclipse Esports in the red. Midnight Six with a slightly different roster than they posted. They did have French Vanilla in the lineup, but now we're seeing Wordplay instead fill in what is likely the hitscan DPS role. And then a little bit of, I think a couple changes here on the side of Eclipse Esports, or am I mistaken?
Eclipse Esports seems to be running their pretty traditional team. It seems that Wordplay is subbing in. I'm trying to figure out who he's subbing in for. Rocket is substituting as well. Like I said, this team in particularly has come together, and they've played a lot of pugs together as well. So I'm sure some teams might be, or some team members rather, they might be busy either with Overwatch League themselves, or maybe even doing other work themselves. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see how the two teams feel each other out on these on this. God, the word is escaping me. I'm just really interested to see how these two teams just kind of play it out. I mean, you're going to have both teams pulling out the respective Junkrat. One team going to be pulling out Breck, especially on that Tracer, and then you're going to have McCree on the side of, what is that, Eclipse? I still have my team colors backwards right here.
Yeah, Eclipse in the red, and then Midnight Six in the blue. Yeah, you pointed out both teams running the Junkrat. I feel like there might be a little bit of an error of anticipation coming out from Brack here running the Tracer, knowing it's very likely that on this variation of Lijiang that Reinhardt's very common. So having a Tracer against the Reinhardt, it's a great opportunity to not only build a ton of ult charge, but also landing really successful sticky bombs.
And we're going to be able to see these two teams just take the immediate agreement up here in the White Room. Some picks-offs coming immediately. The Junkrat's taking out each other respectively. Aptus coming on the upheaval on Maverick. Maverick's going to get resurrected almost immediately as we take a look at Tracer just trying to get a pick at this backline. As we know that Team Eclipse does have that Tracer above the McCree, but no pressure just quite yet as Crimson's going to fall early.
Yeah, Midnight Six hesitating a little bit towards the server room, and they've lost entire territory on the point itself. Here comes a charge out. That's going to whiff from Tail Yellow. Doesn't get Aptus as well. Is still lingering behind the screens. Finally does go down with a complete fury and rush of special abilities coming out here from Eclipse Esports. So Midnight Six back to the drawing board here as they break out just under 20% for Eclipse.
It's kind of interesting how the two teams are kind of taking out their respective hit scan specialists, if you will. You know, Brack with the backline pressure coming online with that pulse bomb before. Here's going to be a big Graviton Surge. No combination as Brack's going to fall to Rocket. Riptire is going to be able to answer here. He's going to pick up Maverick again, dying to Aptus.
Oh, and an Earth Shatter going down, but it's not going to find its mark. The rest of Midnight Six now moving up onto the point. Here comes another Riptire, and it finds Crimson on the outside. A Graviton being thrown down by the count, but no one's ready, and then a Sound Barrier helping Poutine for this. That's a big waste, and now the Graviton not going to be ready for the High Noon or an Earth Shadow as Hot Beverage and Crimson have popped there. Here comes the High Noon. He doesn't need a grab, gets a one on Brack, then an Earth Shatter, putting Tail Yellow on his back, and that's a full swing here from the Midnight Six, as they only have Maverick left on the circle. They finally get rid of him, and that's that.
One of the bigger things to notice especially is how all supports on the board used every single support ult across that entire team fight, but the man advantage was in favor of Midnight Six. Midnight Six had more team members on the board across the center point, and now just all ult advantage is being completely washed out. Tail Yellow is going to be pretty close to that Earth Shatter. We're going to be interested to see how this Riptire comes out and see if it picks up anybody.
Oh, looking for and gets Zarya and Junkrat, so that's a cue for the rest of Midnight Six to get a little more aggressive and aggro, push up a little more, and eat away more percentage. They have a ton of room to do so, and another pick from Aptus. So not only getting a bunch of picks, but they didn't have to overextend and grab Mercy either to make sure that the fight was going to be confirmed for their side. So now they're sitting pretty comfortable. Tail Yellow now poking his way around the corner. Crimson's out a little farther. A Graviton's thrown behind him and a charge coming out, but it's Brack who gets the double kill on the Pulse Bomb. PG and Maverick also combining for kills. It's just Hot Beverage left on the point just outside the perimeter. He gets gunned down and melted by that Zarya laser. And that's another swing here back over to Eclipse Esports.
I don't know if it's totally notable, but Poutine was caught out a little bit earlier, and I think that Eclipse Esports might have been trying to play as if they were a little under-aggressive here, but they were immediately caught into the combination of both Brack with that Pulse Bomb into the Graviton Surge. It was beautifully played.
Brack again in the background, trying to get on this Zarya and finds him with a nice headshot. Aptus responding on Tail Yellow. PGE is purpled. It has to fall back, just barely gets out of the way of that Earth Shadow. Only Poutine gets knocked down, but he's in a completely abstract position. He's not going to get knocked away. A Graviton sucks him in with Maverick. The count trying to get these kills, and he does get the help of Hot Beverage and Aptus. Yomega, though, immediately reversing and erasing those kills, but Hot Beverage puts him back down. And getting a third on the Riptire kill. A hugely clutch play from Hot Beverage to keep his team in this game.
He was holding a Hot Beverage is a very keynote player, trying to fight off that backline, that Tracer, trying to bait out as much as he possibly can, holding on to that High Noon as long as humanly possible, and pulling out clutch at the end of that team fight, killing both supports on the side of Eclipse, capping the point back for Midnight Six.
Eclipse still sitting on a 2-ult advantage, however, and they're going to burn it now with the Graviton, and then the combination from Brack, but he only gets one with Crimson on the Pulse Bomb. The rest of this Eclipse team is going to continue up onto the point. They're not they're completely determined here. PG picks up 2 and pushing the rest of this backline too far away from this point for them to get any sort of hold onto it. That could actually be enough for them to stop the completion, or actually no way for them to stop the completion there. And yeah, a really solid hold from Eclipse.
The speed boost coming through from Poutine, and another edge that they do have across this assault map here. This is a game of counters, if you will. You know, they have the speed on their side. Eclipse does, you know, because you can do as much damage as you want with Aptus on Junkrat and Rocket on Zenyatta, but at the end of the day, if they're just speeding into your backline, just decimating you before you even know what happened, that's just an unfortunate pleasantry. I have been on the other end of both sides of that in my solo queue days.
Well, you got to think about it in terms of win conditions too. Eclipse was just going over and over for the Graviton to Pulse Bomb combination, and it worked every time. Whereas on the side of the Midnight Six, they didn't have any kill confirms. Like, they were just throwing down Grav and hoping to get kills. We saw multiple times how the count was unable to do so with just Zarya by themselves. So they're looking for just plain raw Earth Shatters, not getting enough kills. So they might want to try and rethink their strategy as they go into this next fight on Night Market of Lijiang, looking for guaranteed kill setups, not just individual ultimates being thrown down. But right now, not having any problem getting these first 2 kills. Hot Beverage and Crimson getting on the board first. PGE trying to get rid of Wordplay on the side, and Brack is right behind him too. Brack, meanwhile, distracted by Rocket, does turn around and gets rid of Yomega. PGE responding, getting the kill onto Crimson, and now that they've lost that mech on the side of the count, there's no way to really bully the rest of this Tracer or the Winston up on the point when they jump on, and now everyone is going down as a result. This should be a completion here for Eclipse Esports, as their numbers have completely overtaken the point, and indeed they do complete it.
A Hot Beverage was a Hot Beverage on a mission, if you will. He was really trying to dig in deep to what seemed a lot of different lower targets, but the man advantage playing heavily in favor of Eclipse's side, and the focus fire almost, and they just got a whole bunch of more key targets down to win that control point.
Oh, a D.Va Bomb from outside the point, or from inside outside the point. PGE connecting on 2, almost too casually there, and now they're going to push out to try and push the advantage. Aptus going down. I didn't even catch that one, but I think they were trying to fight against Maverick and Brack on the outside, and even Count and Crimson are going to reset, finding out that D.Va Bomb taking out their complete backline here. So things are going to reset for Eclipse. They're now at 35%. Midnight Six struggling to get back into this fight.
It's a very high-level move for those that don't know. I mean, the ult advantage, they must already know, is in Eclipse's favor, as you can see at the top part of your screen. A Midnight Six still a little bit behind. They're coming online with all of their ults as well, but you can see Omega already having, along with that. The Pulse Bomb's going to come out. We're going to see if it catches along anybody, but this Fair is getting in a pretty little bit aggressive here. Will Genji pull out his Dragon Blade to combo along with the Sound Barrier?
Oh, nice job by the Count on top of PG. So when the defense matrix came out, he silenced it, and Aptus was able to pull off 2 kills in that barrage. This should be enough for a complete swing, and indeed it is. Finally, the Midnight Six posting some percentage in this round of Lijiang Tower.
It's kind of like the Caster's Curse, the ye old Caster's Curse. You know, I say that they have the ult advantage. They should enable to swing the whole team fight, but as a dry push with only 1 ult, maybe 2 in the use on the side of Midnight Six, they were really able to capitalize. Aptus getting that early kill onto Brack. That hit scan's not gonna be able to cause too much damage, but PG is gonna answer almost immediately.
PG has to be careful though. He's all the way out, completely away from the rest of his team, and gets demech'd, and is not going to be a huge influence on the rest of this fight. As now Aptus is going to be able to roam free upstairs and picks off 2, picks up 3, and with the help of Hot Beverage gets a 4th as Maverick goes down. So this is a really solid hold here from the Midnight Six, just peeling apart and picking apart the side of Eclipse one by one before the fight really gets started.
It's a game of counters. It still seems, you know, Rocket hanging out on the Zenyatta with Aptus still on the Pharah, and Brack really the only person to dig too much damage into him.
Ooh, PGE, the downtown D.Va Bomb picks up 2 on Aptus and Wordplay. The Far Mercy gets shut down. Rocket, though, getting on the board with on Brack, and now Poutine trying to distract outside this window. PG gets Crimson, and now they're going to push through on the outside. No one there to boop them off either. It's just Hot Beverage on the point trying to sustain, and Brack, who's on the 76 now, is going to put some fire down on him. Poutine gets right-clicked by the count, and Maverick completes the kill onto Hot Beverage with a headshot. I believe there was even a dive there, so Good job to swing this over, and now it's very close, just within 10% from both of these teams.
There's not too many places to hide in the sky, unfortunately, for Far Mercy.
Yeah, especially in this map where you have to coalesce on the inside of that point, so you're really stifled a lot of times to keep those line of sights maintained to get some really good shots and build barrage quickly. And now, the outside of this point, Midnight Six jockeying outside the perimeter before finally rushing in, trying to get rid of the Mercy, but they can't get rid of her because she pops Valkyrie, and now she's going to be completely out of reach. Of Transcendence coming out here from the Zenyatta of Rocket here. Aptus throwing down the barrage, losing Brack, and it forces Yomega to burn one of the reses. Brack outside of this bubble, outside, both Diva Bombs going down. It's Yomega who gets clipped by one, and then Crimson diving right on top of Brack, almost takes out the Tracer as well. Wasn't lucky enough to get that. PGE now without the mech, it's only the Count who still has that. Should be able to bully around this monkey for a little while longer, and indeed does get rid of Tail the Yellow. And now outside of this point as the rest of this team maintains while Rez is coming in on the inside. This is all going blue. Midnight Six should be able to get on the board once again and could push this to a 99% fight.
What a brawl that team fight just was, too. All supports ult used just to counter that Ferald, and it almost seemed a little bit too early. Maybe you wanted to just try to use the Lucio sound barrier. I understand as a support main myself as well. Once you hear that Pharah barrage as a Mercy, you don't want to die, so you definitely want to capitalize that to fly out, but that's just unfortunate on the side as Crimson is going to be able to come off early and just demolish Brack upstairs. It's going to really give Aptus, who's been on fire as of late, just to crush everybody, along with Hot Beverage, just continues being a nuisance in the back line, crushing all the pressure. Wordplay's just going to pop this Valkyrie, just to keep everybody nice and healthy up on the point, to come along with all of his dear friends. And this is going to be a quick capture for Midnight Six on the second point of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, nice. Going to a stage 3 situation here between both of these teams. Well, I'd love to see that. I know last night we actually had both teams on the Ungentleman organization, red and black, respectively. They did play out the full 3 maps, even though it was a 2-0. I believe Ungentleman red. So, but we don't have to worry about that here because we were forced to go to our third and final variation of Lijiang. It is Lijiang Gardens, and chilling out here, looks like we're going to be, I mean, of course, because we do have Lijiang Night Market, or the Gardens, it's going to be very open, so we're going to see a lot of dive. And still, though, Tail Yellow and Brack sitting on the Reinhardt and McCree, respectively. Even PGE going back to the Zarya.
This is going to be pretty dangerous, especially with Crimson and Aptus going to be able to dive in, put a lot of damage, and be able to get out quickly as well with Hot Beverage on the Tracer. But Brack's hopefully going to be able to pick up that flashbang just to put the immense turn on the team fight, if you will.
Oh, Hot Beverage already flanking all the way around, looking for Brack and drawing the attention of Maverick and PGE. That's allowing Crimson and the Count to now saunter their way over towards the right side of this perimeter, and Aptus converts on that, gets a kill on Brack, and the Count picking off Tail Yellow. This forces Yomega to put himself at risk to get a res, and he gets killed. And now this is going entirely for Midnight Six, almost too easily as they clean up Maverick with the help of Crimson.
And from the perspective of the McCree, too, that almost has to be incredibly difficult and incredibly stressful, too. You know, you have the Tracer just decimating your support line, and then you also have the Pharah decimating your tank line as well, just pressuring from both sides. Where do your shots and your flashbang even go to?
They end up either going into a defense matrix, they don't come out at all because Hot Beverage is just decimating this back line here, taking out Maverick, and then a pulse bomb on Brack. He's 1v6ing this team right now, and now Crimson joining in as well with this Diva on the side of the Count. Now they're just gonna melt this team, who's found themselves really out of position here, and now forced to just retreat heavily and desperately back to spawn. Things are looking very good here for Midnight Six as compared to the first 2 rounds.
You can just see all the ult advantage coming online. Hot Beverage just used it, the pulse bomb he did, and it's already almost halfway back online. And the pressure just to stay back and spawn from the Count, rather, is immense from the self-destruct as well. Rocket's gonna fall, or get that early entry pick-off, if you will, to Maverick as well, and this team fight might be over before it even starts.
Hot Beverage is literally peeling the entire team here. Of Eclipse, but unfortunately pops Barrage by themselves, maybe getting a little too greedy there, and goes down without a kill. It's now Eclipse, able to move up just a little bit. That forces the Primal Rage out from Crimson to keep them in place. That's not going to stop Eclipse to get onto the point and possibly capture. They do immediately without stoppage. Hot Beverage gets knocked down by Brack, and then a second one onto the Count. Brack making way more of a name of himself after... It looks like just for a little bit, Hot Beverage was taking out this, the wind in their sails for the top annoyance in the back line. Brack now getting back on the board for 2 hot kills.
Just like most Widowmakers do in comp, when you cause so much pressure, you make them angry enough to take out a Widowmaker, and lo and behold, Brack just coming out getting all of the entry-level kills and the exiting kills to make his presence known.
And whose presence known as anyone other than Maverick. He's already picking up Hot Beverage again, getting some revenge from earlier in the round. A Graviton being popped by PGE, and still not many, too many missed opportunities from grabs coming out and no one converting entirely on them. There should be entire wipes from anyone who's getting sucked up, but unfortunately we're not seeing that. As Killfeed going blue again for Midnight Six, who has been mostly dominating this round of Lijiang Tower so far, even though the percentages are getting close. Crimson to get another double kill to seal the deal. And that'll be it, just at the 52% mark here for Eclipse, and now they're building on the side of the Midnight Six towards 75 and higher.
Aptus has been a man on multiple objectives throughout this game too. He says, you want to switch Widowmaker? Okay, I'll switch Genji. And so on and so forth. He just knows that he can't be throwing his head into a role for too much longer. He needs to support his team in any way possible. As the Winston dives in, we're going to see if he's going to be able to create the space for his team. As Rocket does fall early to D.Va. The barrage picks up on nobody, but Wordplay's gonna fall anyway.
Ooh, great job by the count to be all over Maverick and stuffing that entire barrage and picks up the kill. Also takes out Tail Yellow, forcing the res out from Yomega. And still getting close to that Valkyrie is Yomega. Tail Yellow back in the fray, jumping around and almost getting with the help of Brack. Hot Beverage does go down. And Brack, who had switched over to this Tracer, it might have been a problem for him. He's been switching characters off and not getting the opportunity to completely build ult charge, but he's showing it's not a huge issue at all. Switching over to the Tracer and having high effectiveness already.
And Maverick's going to take the swap over to Genji early on in this fight as well. Aptus has a hard decision to make now. Do you stay on the Genji? He does have the Blade as well, but switching back to that Pharah might help out his team. The percentage is close. The Blade might make the difference here.
Absolutely. And not only could make the difference, but there's no Zenyatta waiting for him. There's no Transcendence waiting for him. So you could get a clean Blade right here. And now he's moving right up onto the point. This fight is breaking out in the White Room. A D.Va Bomb just inside, and it picks up 4 from the count. He shuts them down before they ever even get a chance. Tail Yellow does take out Aptus, but it's too little too late, I'm sure. All they have left is this Primal Rage out from Tail Yellow. And now onto the point rushes is PGE. Getting on, but Wordplay reviving Aptus. PGE picks up Hot Beverage. These Mercy's still in play. They got to get rid of them. A Tracer Pulse Bomb goes down, not going to connect. Another D.Va Bomb, and it gets 2 for PGE on Crimson and the count. Wordplay resing Hot Beverage back into the fight. These Tracers just dipping and dodging around each other. They don't want to go down first. Tail Yellow trying to look for Hot Beverage with Rocket, picks off Poutine on the outside of the perimeter, and then Tail Yellow finally finishes the chase and gets the pursuit down, gets Hot Beverage. The Transcendence finally coming out from Rocket, but is it going to be enough to keep the rest of this team alive because only Wordplay's there with them. Finally, though, Crimson gets onto the point, tied at 99 apiece for both teams. Another D.Va Bomb, a third one of this spike, but at this point, everyone has already adapted. They're waiting in cover, and now a Blade. This could be it. Maverick, but he can't get the kills necessary. He's completely peeled off the point. Tail Yellow and Poutine have to pick up the slack. The count knocked out of Mech, gets absolutely shorted right there. Headshot from Brack. And finally, that's going to be it. Thankfully, Eclipse Esports stealing that win away and taking Lijiang 2-1.
As the Year of the Dog just comes closer and closer, we just get reminded of the fireworks that come across on Lijiang Towers. Brack likes to remind us on this play of the game. He's going to come along with this Pulse Bomb onto the Mercy, picks up 2. It's just a huge game of chess, if you will, this matchup was all across this map. It was very, very fun, very, very intense to see both Maverick, Brack, Aptus, and Hot Beverage both playing the swap game to feel each other out and to see where each other play out into this scrim night, if you will, as Eclipse Esports goes up 1.
And as we saw last night between the two Ungentlemen teams, one side favoring dive a lot more, at least is consistently staying on it, and the other side adapting and making subtle changes, even dipping into deathball a little bit. And we're seeing this here. Midnight Six very comfortable on dive and essentially revolved around that the entirety of Lijiang, whereas Eclipse Esports, they were willing to not only move away from dive or modify it, but also go towards the Reinhardt, go towards the Zarya, go towards the McCree, and go for traits in the team that are more deathball-y. And it worked out for them because they were able to just adapt depending on when they needed to on the fly, even though they saw most of their success ultimately from running dive against dive. Still, though, it's great to see that the team is willing to make those adaptations, and it hasn't really stopped any of their momentum going throughout the entirety of the set. And as we finish up Lijiang Tower, we are moving through this first control map to an escort map, so I'll be pretty curious to see where we go from here.
It seems that we might be favoring on our way to Gibraltar. And depending on which team takes the fight first, there's been a lot of show of Pharah, there's been a lot of show of Genjis, there's been a lot of show of all different team compositions, as you said, Rapture. So I'm very intrigued to see the different amount of team compositions that'll come out. Will we see a lot of experimental stuff with this patch still in effect? We can still see the Sombra play coming out from here on Gibraltar. We can still see a lot of different amazing stuff coming out as these two teams are agreeing to ready up, and we'll find out momentarily.
Yeah, Watchpoint Gibraltar could go the way of Midnight Six just with that added verticality that Watchpoint Gibraltar gives teams. And not only that, considering how snowbally the map usually is, once you really get that fire going on your team, especially with Dive, the high mobility, it can be hard to get your footing as defense. And if Eclipse Esports decides to go for a chunkier composition, it can be even harder because you can't run away from Dive when you're a death ball. So, you gotta keep your feet planted and hope you win the fight or drag it out long enough where the Dive just eventually has to give up, or, win that war of attrition, essentially. So in Gibraltar, it can be a risk running a much chunkier static composition, and it looks like that might be the case here on the side of Eclipse. They're already teasing a Bastion, a Roadhog, an Orisa, a Widowmaker, a Zenyatta, all characters that can be very diveable targets here. But if they're at their highest effectiveness and they're not going down, they stay together, that's going to be absolutely hell for this Dive team, which is more or less squishy outside the tanks.
And another amount of flexibility as Midnight Six comes out for this defense as well. You definitely want to take Crimson on that Winston. Not only is it his secondary home here on planet Earth, Watchpoint Gibraltar is, but the clearance of the high ground, you're almost in need of it. A lot of teams, you want to try to take the Reinhardt, you want to try to take an Orisa, but at the end of the day, the amount of high ground clearance that Gibraltar offers, much like Dorado, if you will, like you said earlier, Rapture, it has this very early snowball effect. Both teams showing off the Widowmaker on their hit scan specialist, Hot Beverage, and Brack early on. This is going to be the land of snipertunity earlier on.
Yeah, this is going to be scary. You really can't peek against this team on the red side. I mean, they have a Bastion and a Widowmaker and a Roadhog. That's a lot of long-range potential there out of two of those three characters. And even Roadhog's right-click can still be a lot of trouble for teams. And of course, you get any closer than that, you get in hook range, you could be done for. I have to be very careful here as this payload is now moving out unabated. And PGE has already found themselves sneaking up behind. The count does take out Poutine, but that Roadhog continues to push down until finally jumping down to the payload. You'll make a force to burn a res. Hot Beverage, though, with the two-piece, getting those Omnics, and then Brack puts him down back into his grave with a kill, and then Crimson gets some revenge.
Resurrection should be able to come through in time there for Hot Beverage, but it's funny, they wanted to try the early Junkertown strategy. I honestly thought it was a joke to begin with, but the Bastion really did get on payload, but the entry-level picks from Hot Beverage, and here we go, just back and forth again on the beginning of these fights. It's very funny how both these teams are playing each other out.
Yeah, it's not like Junkertown where you have a lot of open area around you, so it's harder to sneak up or get a closer sight line or peek a corner. Here, you can really get up close without taking too much damage once you try and go for that strategy on defense. So, meanwhile, Brack getting dove upon on Crimson and Count, that tank line, following and chasing him down. Aptus already on him. Yomega goes down. That's a big loss before this fight really totally breaks out here. Neither team burning any ultimates just yet. They're probably going to wait as the Mercy gets back into the fight. Rocket picks up Tail Yellow. Aptus finding Brack. And now Maverick just really pretty much at a loss right there as Aptus cuts him down. This should be a pretty solid win here for Midnight Six, as they're having no trouble at all taking out Eclipse once they try to get farther down this longer lane.
It's the unfortunate circumstance that you have to face. Maverick wanted to feel that juicy Bastion pick on the beginning of this, but like you said, it's not Junkertown. You don't have all the open space to land out all of the damage in the known universe. And the ult advantage going heavily in favor of Midnight Six. They're gonna have almost all the ults advantages on their team. As Aptus is gonna pull out this blade, we're gonna see if he picks anybody else up. Self-destruct's not gonna pick up anybody, but
Aptus, though, on the blade, he does get the first pick, and that's first blood in this fight. And once again, Midnight Six just casually picking apart the entirety of the Eclipse. Hot Beverage is sitting there unadulterated in the background while the Count is doing a lot of dirty work up in the front. Maverick, though, gets two, and now he's trying to help out his Genji, and he does, but it's actually Rocket who gets on the board. So Midnight Six, yeah, because of all those early changes from Eclipse Esports that did set them back a lot in Ultimates here. And now they're trying to catch up here though. They're not having too much trouble right now though, as they're going and chasing for kills. They could get a stagger. This payload finally getting a little bit of grease under its wheels, a little bit of WD-40 sprayed. And thankfully, just in the nick of time, is this payload getting much closer to this checkpoint. That forces out the Transcendence from Rocket as a scramble now finds itself on the payload. A D.Va Bomb upstairs getting caught a little bit on the rocks, and that little bit of hang time gives the teams a rest and opportunity to get back into cover. And a Pulse Bomb coming down, that's going to whip, but Maverick gets the count anyway. PGE forcing Wordplay out of this dimension. No more Mercy Rises coming out for that squad. And this should be enough for a cleanup on the side of Eclipse Esports. Now they don't have to deal with Wordplay. He's now just getting back out of spawn. The checkpoint is going to be reached in the first phase.
Apt is feeling a little more advantageous, trying to pull out that blade, trying to pull in agilities, if you will, trying to take the entire squadron on by himself with one man, one sword. Oh no, Wordplay is going to fall on early to the spawn advantage, and there now goes Hot Beverage. Maverick is on a rampage right now, just trying to get this payload as far into the second point of Watchpoint Gibraltar as possible. He's trying to initiate that whole snowball effect we were talking about, but Tail Yellow will fall early to the count. We're going to be able to see if the spawn advantage for Eclipse Esports now will be able to play in favor, but Midnight is taking the defensive positioning. They might take the early engage.
Oh, they have to be careful. D.Va Bomb thrown into the back line, but Eclipse Esports not having any problem getting away from that. The fight now transitioning towards the ship. The count picking off Yo Mega as he tries to get out of the way and help out Poutine. So now this is an opportunity for Midnight 6 to go super hard and try and pursue everyone trying to get away from here and get a bigger stagger. Getting rid of PG, and now Maverick knows it's the time to pop this blade, but is it too late? It is. Hot Beverage gets the two-piece, and one's on Maverick. He was trying to salvage the situation, but once PGE lost his mech, there's no one there to keep a body in front of him, or at least take some more and sponge some more damage, or just, throw down the defense matrix to keep anyone from cutting him down like Hot Beverage. So essentially, once that blade got popped, there was no one to help him out, and that was that.
And you can see where this team is taking the defensive positioning. Midnight 6 all taking the defensive positioning on top of the ship. Hot Beverage is very close to getting that tactical visor. They might all be on there just to take him underneath their wing, put him in their pocket, if you will, see how much damage he can really get out for this. But Brack on. You're going to see PGE pop the bomb, see if he gets anybody. Wordplay's going to fall immediately to it.
Yeah, that could be enough here for Eclipse Esports to push up on this. And Hot Beverage, though, returning fire with the visor up on the bridge, realizing that a bunch of these squishy characters had already moved onto the payload, so why not clip them up? But the count, as they were avoiding Hot Beverage, they get hit by the count's D.Va Bomb. And that's going to be a great combination. They burn a bunch of ults, but they still have Aptus sitting on the blade, so they can cycle between these two DPS ultimates that are being used. So good ultimate management here from the defense. And now Midnight 6 closer and closer to a potential full hold here. Now a minute left on the clock for Eclipse Esports.
The count just wanting to make sure that that PGE knows that anything you can do, I can do better. You can pick up the Mercy, I'll pick up 2 with my bomb instead. Aptus is going to pull out this blade earlier. I'm going to see if he pulls anybody. He's going to fall low pretty early. And Maverick's going to pull out his blade and answer immediately. See if he picks up anybody else. Pick up the D.Va card for his difficulty. But Wordplay is going to be able to pull out that Valkyrie and just bring back Hot Beverage and Aptus back to life. It's just a brawl right now, Rapture.
Yeah, Yo Mega, nice job using that Valkyrie just to usher in the rest of the team, supporting Maverick's blade. Hot Beverage, though, getting another late visor, and unfortunately, he was too close to really get enough damage without getting clipped there. His body gets absolutely destroyed. He gets killed, and now this payload is so close to the second checkpoint. A barrier being thrown down here by Poutine, helping the sustain go down. PG picks up Wordplay. This bomb's gonna come from above, but only Brack is in position to get killed by it. The rest of the team is still safe under the bubble or near the payload. Another response D.Va Bomb. No one gonna connect on that. Now Maverick taking out Hot Beverage. To be careful, PG is still upstairs on this ship. He drops down, going for the count. The count is just sustaining as long as possible. We are in overtime. Now it's Rocket next to him as he gets D-Mech. Wordplay jumping in, very risky, diving right through the entire fight, somehow still stays alive. And now a blade coming out here from Aptus. It's all on him to try and get rid of the Brack, but he's pocketed and has the visor to boot. That's 2, and this map continues.
Brack finally just saying, you know what, I've had an end to this. Let me just put on this quick visor real quick, get everybody off this payload, and that's exactly what happens now. You can see the kill feed still finally coming through. Count's gonna fall off late in this fight, get the late respawn. They might get some free card off that as well. You can see Brack just wanting to possibly take a switch here. Oh no.
Yep, it's time. It is
back
time.
to the good time feels.
Yeah, and this is, you got one of the longest possible sight lines on this map, and one of the really solid ones for Widowmaker in this game. on escort maps. So no surprise, Brack moving over to the Widowmaker, but no longer going to be able to harass the backline from actually going in there. Has to keep making these headshots happen. And there it is. One shot already onto Rocket. That's a great opportunity for the rest of the team to move right in, and then gets Hot Beverage too. The 1-2, nice little combo there. 2-for-1 offer, and he takes it with a nice coupon. Tail Yellow also getting on that deal.
Such
and now he's going to push up on the
opportunities.
spawn. Yeah, so tons of sniper opportunities in Snipe City. Now both bubbles jumped onto these bodies, onto the payload. Maverick with another very quick blade, looking out and tries to get rid of Rocket. Does, but Wordplay gets him right back into the fight. Brack, though, getting rid of Aptus, and he was going over to the corner to try and reset his situation. PGE and Poutine with the help of Tail Yellow trying to maintain some bodies on the point, but it is Crimson trying to flail him away with the Primal Rage. Once he's out of it, Hot Beverage's opportunity to throw down the visor, and he gets it. He finds Yo Mega all the way in the sky, and Brack can't take him down in time. But Wordplay now gets him back into this reality from the Shadow Realm. Yo Mega, unfortunately, wasn't able to stay alive long enough to really get the Valkyrie back out, or start building towards another Valkyrie, which could be key. Brack putting out the count, looking for another one. PGE absolutely just bullying Aptus here. Now Maverick trying to go and build for another blade. This could be a second or third blade in these fights. No one's on the checkpoint. It's just this one last blue player, and it's Hot Beverage. He goes down. Diva Bomb is going to confirm it and even gets rid of the count out of that Diva mech. The Eclipse Esports, no time on the clock, but they eventually push it right in with a team kill. It's 3-0 here on Gibraltar. Now we're switching it up.
Brack was 2 HP that entire time back there while he sniped the count after that Diva Bomb was going off. I believe it was the count's Diva Bomb, correct?
Yeah.
It was intense nevertheless. He had 2 HP while still picking up headshots. I honestly just think that Midnight 6, they might have just taken a little bit too long to deal with Brack. They saw the change almost come immediately. They initially dove him, but it was almost too late. The damage was done. The sightlines were already taken by both Tail Yellow, creating all of the space in the known universe. You just couldn't hide anywhere. You had to get on the point.
Yeah, there's definitely something to say about just how much of an effect it has where you leave a very important target alive for too long. Just a couple extra seconds you give them could be enough for them to get a kill that sways the fight. And we saw that often from Brack's Widowmaker, where someone wouldn't get there in time. Crimson or the count wouldn't be able to get there in time. All of a sudden he gets 2 headshots, and that sets up Maverick to start slicing and dicing and get closer to his Genji blade. And PGE bullying characters around. They're very the side of Eclipse Esports, despite what it may look on the clock, they're doing a good job of getting in position and able to focus down targets for a good amount of the time. But still, the defense holding very strong here for the Midnight Six. They're posting very good plays from Eclipse counterparts, like the Count and Crimson, very strong tank line. Hot Beverage showing his flexibility on 76 on Widowmaker, and we've seen him early in the sets too. So the combination of him and Aptus, as well as Rocket, who's bringing pretty solid shots on Zenyatta every once in a while. So I want to see how successful they are on this next push. Is they do have to complete the map, even though there's no time on the clock here for Eclipse.
Aptus is gonna try to punish out here on the Doomfist. We know what happens here, folks. We know once he's gonna get answered immediately, but he's not gonna go through with it. He knew. Hot Beverage getting the space, so he's gonna get Yo Mega immediately.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about. Yo Mega gets put down because no one's on Hot Beverage, and then Hot Beverage and Rocket combining to take out Tail Yellow. Tail Yellow was not quick enough to get over to Hot Beverage, and he starts to clean up kills. He's still alive. Look, there's another kill from him staying alive. PG getting cleaned up, and now Poutine getting staggered. Not only staggered, but less opportunity to start building towards a Transcendence, which would be very key. They can, they're gonna have to deal with this with Aptus, who's just gonna be bullying this team. Crimson, 2 big bodies there, gonna be throwing their weight around for the rest of this map, and already things are looking great for Midnight 6. They're getting over to this first checkpoint super quickly. I don't think Crimson can get just barely in time as Tail Yellow stepping on and contesting just in time, but it's Aptus putting him down, and then the count just slides right in.
And the way this whole team works now, especially with Doomfist being fixed in the recent patch, is you can create enough space with a dive, and the disruption with the Doomfist and the Winston and your backline, that Hot Beverage just will have more than enough space to put the Dinkarinos in, and it's really been showing. It's very unfortunate to watch on the side as Aptus just continuously goes in to disrupt that backline. He will fall, however. We might be able to see Eclipse Esports finally get a capitalization onto this payload, however.
Yeah, the payload finally getting back onto rolling, but they're, stepping off every once in a while, start chasing down some kills. We see Tail Yellow getting caught in the fray a little bit, but he's going to get pushed with a little bit of help here from his friends. The Count's going to get knocked out of his mech for his transgressions, trying to just capitalize too much in that upper area and try and punish whoever was lingering up there, but instead gets DMAxed. A Doom Fist coming down from above. It's Aptus with that Hammer of Dawn, but Poutine puts him down, so this payload's still staying in place here. Eclipse Esports holding on, not only holding on, but they're going to be now close and about to get a 4 ultimate bank here, which now ties up the count here for Midnight 6.
You're going to be able to see Hot Beverage take this positioning, but he's already going to have the D.Va answering his long sight lines, if you will. He's not going to really be able to get much work done as the payload's already through the door. It's going to take a lot of entry kills to get back into this positioning, but he's going to be able to find this Mercy. He's going to be able to catch the opening position on. Can Brack finish it off with this Tac Visor?
This team, both teams are very scattered from one another, and Eclipse is kind of biting them in the pants now.
Oh.
Hot Beverage just body shot their body shot. Tail Yellow, though, with the Primal Rage, picks up Hot Beverage, and Brack still unabated all the way in the background with a nice right click onto Aptus. That's going to shut things down, and that's going to be it for that play. It seems like Eclipse taking the opportunity, or taking advantage of the fact that both teams are very scattered, to pick and choose their targets, chase them down, and get kills faster.
And the way that Gibraltar's second point plays out, too, if you win one of these first team fights, it's very hard to get back through this, because the defensive team, rather, has to call out which door, 1, 2, 3, or 4, whichever, and that's almost instantaneously where the entire team is coming from. So these entry-level kills are almost much more than needed, just so that way they can capitalize on the payload and disrupt their defensive positioning.
Aptus now leading the fray, and unfortunately goes in before Rocket had really gotten next to him with the Transcendence. That's unfortunate timing there. And now they're going to have to really scramble to get this fight back in their way. Aptus is back in the fight. Hot Beverage taking out Maverick, but a Tactical Visor being dropped down. Brack, though, jumps down to complete the rest of it. Does get 2 kills. A nice decision to do that, as he was losing the line of sight on those 2 squishy characters with Genji and Mercy, respectively. And now this should be entirely here for Eclipse. They're holding again, but they've burnt all their ultimates. Both teams have. Aptus is going to be very close to a Blade, and there's no Transcendence on the side of Eclipse waiting for it.
And so the same defensive problems are happening. Hot Beverage is going to have to take that Soldier, and they're going to have to hope that Aptus, when this Dragon Blade comes online, that he's going to be able to get enough kills to get this payload on a roll here.
Oh, PGE already harassing that top area and gets rid of Crimson. And then Maverick taking out Hot Beverage. Now just below 2 minutes. This only probably gives them another maybe 1 or 2 clean fight attempts, as the rest of Midnight 6 is forced once again back to the drawing board, waiting for the teams to get back into it. But they can still wait around for a little bit. They have some time. Hot Beverage is close to a Visor. They're going to have a Valkyrie. They're going to have a Blade. Rocket's close to Transcendence. So right now, Midnight 6 is not completely out of it. They have a big ultimate advantage going into this next fight.
It's really scary how long Brack just continuously gets on top of this ship. He's hardly ever contested, and when he does, the rest of his team's almost there just to follow up on everything. And they do have the Mercy. They can resurrect whoever they want. Wordplay is going to answer along with that. 2 with his Valkyrie to bring back 2. Yomega's going to fall with Hot Beverage. Maverick is just going to continuously be a nuisance back here as well to protect everybody. Hot Beverage hoping to pick up more.
That was unfortunate from PGE, kind of throwing a floppy kind of arc D.Va bomb that connected on nobody. That would have been really crucial to put onto the payload and give themselves a little more zoning, or a little more room to work with, a little bit of zoning on that ultimate, rather than just kind of throwing it out and not getting too much. So now this payload has finally got underway again here for the side of the Midnight 6. Hot Beverage getting into Yomega. Poutine trying to force the rest of the team with help off PGE off. They have the mech still out. Brack pops his visor, and Aptus found him immediately and gets the kill. And now this might not be entirely necessary. Rocket throwing down the Transcendence when I don't think they need it, but just to be sure, it even came out a little too early. But the Count now gonna pick up the slack, gets 2 on a high time D.Va bomb. Rocket picking up Maverick, and now we're going to the third phase of the map here, Panda.
I don't know if Rocket might have done that just to save his own life, or it was to capitalize on the point, but nevertheless, the Count just wanted to make sure that if any ults were used, it was going to be his, and that's how you capitalize on that second lone point. Midnight Six finally getting the picks that they needed to get into third on Watchpoint Gibraltar. They really have to play closely as a minute's only on the clock. But Maverick's gonna get the pulse bomb stuck on a rocket anyway.
Yeah, that's a huge stifle to this Midnight Six team, who is now really scraping together the rest of their time on the clock. 1 minute and 5 seconds remaining for these next attempts. So now they're pretty much down to one clean fight, as these fights will probably last longer into overtime here. I have to worry about Brack sitting upstairs. Tail Yellow is going to have this Winston, though, but they did burn this barrier unnecessarily from Poutine, leaving them with just a Diva Bomb. Not sure why they did this, so I guess PGE trying to buy a little bit of time, and he throws it down for nothing, too, so they've just thrown away their 2 remaining ultimates for apparently no reason now, at least somewhat in desperation on the side of PGE. And now they got to make the rest of this work on a dry defensive hold against 3 ultimates, and the Blade now being popped first, diving up onto the top line. They're looking for Maverick or the Zenyatta. Now it's a Visor coming down on the side of Brack, trying to keep things back here. Hot Beverage, though, still sitting on his, waiting to use this Visor once everything else is popped, and possibly to get rid of this Diva. It won't have anything to deal with that. Buddy just throws it down. Now that he has an opportunity to try and clean up some kills. It gets PGE, and he gets Maverick just beforehand. There's no one else to leave him behind and get some... goes down. This payload continuing to move down this final lane. It is just the Divas gonna be able to come out. Poutine and Mercy, they're out by themselves. They might go down before this fight really gets underway again. PGE and now Maverick onto the payload. They're trying to shove their way around, and Hot Beverage finding him on the end of his iron sights with the right click. Aptus getting rid of PGE. Aptus now chasing down for more, trying to get rid of the Diva, Baby Diva. Rocket throwing down the Transcendence. As the Diva comes from above, that's not going to connect on anybody. The Count not finding anyone there. Tail Yellow getting rid of Hot Beverage. Aptus still trying to get rid of these squishies. Has the Blade, and the payload does stop right there. Eclipse Esports able to hold on and push the rest of the Midnight Six off the payload just in time. Everyone else was chasing kills. Yo Mega getting this podge. And now Eclipse Esports up 2-0 in this set.
That was so close. So close. So they just wanted to frag out almost a little bit too hard. And that might have been just the problem all along. It was a lot of people low on the side of Eclipse Esports. Midnight Six wanted all of the finishers, if you will. And they just got a little bit too excited over it seems. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, you know, you just can't... You want to play around that objective, whether it's assault, whether it's escort. You just really want to be around that objective 24/7, and that's no matter how many ults get wasted, will save you from that unfortunate mistake.
Yeah, that's why you gotta. It's also important to have the patience from your ultimate usage too, especially when there are those high intensity situations. You want to just pop ultimates and try and keep your team alive as long as possible. We saw some really solid play from the 76 players on both sides. Then that were holding their ultimates a little while longer, trying to just keep it hot. I believe it was Brack towards the end here for Eclipse Esports. He was just waiting with the Visor, or it could have been Hot Beverage. Either way, both of those players were able to show patience in their ultimate usage at times, which is great because so often team players would just be very quickly to try and get a quick kill and clean things up, thinking that's their opportunity to swing things over in their favor. But in fact, if they had held things and tried to get rid of the Diva Mech or try to get rid of this ultimate baited and popped beforehand, you get a lot more value out of what you're looking for. So Eclipse Esports showing signs of that, I think, more often. And despite some interesting ultimate usage towards the end from Poutine and PGE, so wasting ultimates, but they extended the fight long enough to build up back their resources and ended up taking things their way.
Yeah, it's like you said as well. Almost holding on to that attack visor maybe just a little bit too late there, and could have maybe gotten a little bit more out of that. But it was just, again, Disruption City here on the side of both teams, really. I mean, we saw the Doomfist come out. We saw continuous Winston dives. The Widowmaker from Brack even to really push into that last and third point. Just, again, a lot of game of back and forth, just trying to really punish each other for all their positioning and hero picks respectively.
Mm-hmm. We might see a team change here, and indeed we do. Tail Yellow, who was playing the Winston on Eclipse Esports, being swapped out, substituted for Jovi. I'm assuming we'll be taking up the Mantle as the main tank here for Eclipse Esports. We head into the second half of this set. We are going to hybrid. So Kings Row looks like it'll be the choice for these two teams. So see, this is an opportunity again. We get a little bit of that control kind of play on a 1-point area with Eclipse Esports and Midnight Six both going somewhat evenly earlier on control, and then we just saw a purely escort map. So we're seeing a good amount of diversity between these maps as we rotate through. Kings Row has verticality, but it can be misleading. It can be kind of misleading, but also daunting to use at times. You really got to go for a full rotation on point A, and then after that, it kind of dwindles down and ebbs and flows in terms of how much effective high ground to really get throughout the map. So it'll be interesting to see how that jives with the dive centric Eclipse or Midnight Six, and then Eclipse Esports, who also shows flashes of dive as well as also different changes to their team depending on what suits their needs. So now we're having a map with not as much verticality as Gibraltar, and obviously not control like Lijiang. We'll see how that plays with these two teams.
I mostly want to be trying to focus on Brack here. Will he force the Widowmaker? Because like you said, there's not that much high ground on these on the clearance once Streets phase begins. There's not a lot of viewage of the hallways that Kings Row has to offer throughout the Streets phase.
Mm-hmm.
So will Brack be playing back to that comfort pick on the Tracer, or will he be leaving that to Maverick to be putting in all the backline damage, or will this team just go back to full dive like they did through Control? And will we be able to see this team through the power of 100%ing one target at a time through dive, be able to simultaneously take this point and steamroll through this? Because this is hybrid. Once that capture point does begin, it could be steamrolled. Could be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Brack going onto the Tracer, because I'm sure that they would anticipate, chunkier death volley compositions for Kings Row. So like the Reinhardt, like the Zarya, or maybe even Orisa Roadhog. So those are great targets for a Tracer to deal with. And then maybe throw the Maverick still on the Genji to take advantage of a little bit of high ground that you can get. Or maybe throw him on the Pharah. Pharah's a good option for Kings Row, especially just leading out on offense. By the way, Midnight Six moving over to the red, and Eclipse Esports now on the blue side. Midnight. I wouldn't be surprised for Midnight Six, who seem to be more Death Volley favored, if they go for Zarya Reinhardt or Orisa Roadhog. Hot Beverage likely going to go to a 76 at times. We could also see the return of Widowmaker in this set, as we can get those really long sightline picks on the first point of point A, and then of course the really far back left high ground of point, the third phase in the map, which can be really annoying for the attacking team to get through that right turn, the last corner of phase 3, when there's a Widowmaker constantly raining attacks on you, especially the offense is running Reinhardt Zarya, which they might be doing through phase 2. Then they have to change. They can't deal with the Widowmaker anymore. So it forces diversity and flexibility from these teams to jump from kind of one team philosophy to another. And we'll see which team is more successful in doing so.
Right. Excuse me. And right, like you said, Midnight Six, along with that third point, in conjunction to what I'm mostly interested in seeing with Brack on that flexibility that he's been offering all the way since Lijiang Tower. I mean, if he brings out that Widowmaker both on defense and attack, that could be the final point, much like Gibraltar again, to where he just clears all sight lines, all entries, because there's only 2 doorways that you can possibly come out of. And whether he's hanging out on either the Soldier or the Widowmaker, we have seen through the past 2 maps that he is able and really willing to cut off all entry points.
Let's see if they're able to do the same here on Kings Row. Certainly a choke pointy map, and if we see anything, or at least if PGA has anything to do about it, they might be going back to that Zarya, and it looks like he's teasing that a little bit here. So yeah, Midnight 6 now on the red. We do have Esports in the blue, changing it up just a little bit here from our previous maps. Thank you all for continuing to tune in with us here tonight over at broadcast.gg. Of course, once this is over, we're definitely going to go over and watch that Overwatch League. I believe we have Seoul versus Dallas will be up next after these maps. I'm excited about this. But we still have our foray between Eclipse Esports and the Midnight Six, 2 teams hovering around the 3.6 to 3.8 SR range, likely both competing in the 3.8. So there we go. They're both perfectly 3.8, and likely going to be competing in the Overwatch Open Division, which is why they're doing these open division set style rules for this scrimmage.
I'm always so excited, especially being a favorite streamer and ladder player myself. You know, just wanting to see how these two teams really get ready for the Overwatch Open Division, and while the Overwatch League is playing in our backline as well. It's so exciting to see where Overwatch as a whole, as a game, is headed. The direction that Blizzard and Activision wanting to take, respectively, is just truly. I mean, it's beautiful. You know, from a gamer's perspective. I mean, I've been playing video games for a long time. I don't know about you, Rapture, but for esports to reach this sort of professional level, I mean, it's just awesome, man. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. I've been around for a while, at least in gaming, and then certainly competitive gaming too. And it's just great to see a title like this go into places that I don't know, I never really expected. And of course, I still love watching open division and amateur and even tier 2, tier 3 competition here. So definitely great to continue casting these matches, and both these teams now have broken out onto Kings Row. Crimson getting on the board first with an Earthshatter, but Hot Beverage is doing a great amount of work here, and a solid job of putting down a lot of residual damage on this defense and getting rid of these barriers too. Yomega really has to put in a lot of work to try to continually heal their team and also not get routed. Poutine just barely getting dodged around from these shots, and finally Hot Beverage puts him down. He had a Discord orb on him too, so that definitely helped. And already the Midnight Six routing Eclipse Esports here, with Hot Beverage just doing so much work. PG does get on the board on Aptus, but that's definitely not going to be enough to swing this back in their favor. That's already 2 ticks. It looks like Eclipse Midnight Six are going to get this first cap.
Yeah, Aptus picking up the Helix Rocket Reflect kill onto Maverick as he was trying to fire that out and protecting his supports, but it didn't really do much. Aptus is going to end up getting the close spawn. Hot Beverage going to hang out up here for just a little bit of time, go a little uncontested. We're going to see if they're going to just throw Aptus onto him as well, because he's really the only person on I'm sorry, they're going to throw Brack onto Hot Beverage immediately, but the Graviton Surge not going to really do all too much.
Oh, that Earth Shatter only getting onto Crimson, but it was enough for Poutine to put him down. Wordplay, though, has the Valk ready and waiting and picks Crimson right back up as Yomega also returns the favor, gets Brack and Jovi back up. And now another Earth Shatter for 3! Crimson and just absolutely wiping the floor here with Eclipse Esports. A fat shatter indeed. And that's going to give a ton of room here for Midnight Six. They push up towards the 3rd checkpoint, just one on the payload. They're trying to get a couple kills here. Stagger PGE as well as this 76 from Maverick, who's also sitting on a visor too. So just reducing his opportunity window to throw down a visor and hold the rest of this map would be great. And now a great stagger kill from Aptus. A Graviton throw, putting the entirety of Midnight Six in their place, and Eclipse Esports swinging it back in their favor almost violently there. A huge swing with a great Graviton there from PGE, and now they have control of the payload.
PGE is just going up like a Christmas tree right now. He has more than enough charge, if you will, hanging out around about 80%, just able to follow up on his own Graviton Surge. And they're just going to be able to reclaim streets almost immediately. The spawn advantage being in favor now of Eclipse Esports. That's a long walk to get back through, and that's a lot of streets to fight through if you're on the side of Midnight Six. There is Hot Beverage going to have to do almost everything all over again, try to get a whole bunch of entry-level picks, but he's under pressure almost immediately.
Yeah, it's going to be a big hill to climb here, trying to get the payload where it is now the defense is already pushed up here. Midnight Six, I mean, they may want to think about rechanging out this Hot Beverage, but they've thrown down the Graviton to try and capitalize, though. Crimson, great shield on that Earth Shatter, does get counterpinned, though, from Jovi. A Fire Strike just barely whipping on him, but Jovi does get put down by the counter. Transcendence now from Rocket. They're going to try and walk around this bookstore after they pick the kill off of Brack. No one contesting the point here for them except this Mercy who pops Valkyrie. PGE, though, I believe has a bunch of charge ready and already working, but a visor being thrown down here from Maverick from upstairs. No one's in position to get out of the way from it, and he picks up 2, also having the Reinhardt right in front of him. Realizes it's not going to be worth it fighting out Crimson. Crimson's going to be able to get back out, but they've staggered him a good amount, and the count also going down, so a good amount of problems here now for the Midnight Six, who have once again come to a halt, and they can't seem to reach that payload.
And as this becomes an escort map style, that we're going to end up seeing a little bit more dive heavy come in favor of Midnight Six. Apps is going to take that swap over to the Doomfist. He's going to see if he can get a little bit more disruption in the backline of Eclipse, but I'm just not too sure. Poutine has been on fire with these sound barriers. Besides the one that we didn't see, that we quote-unquote didn't see, but the Gravitons are just going to pick up a few in here, see if he's going to be able to get any follow-up.
Nice, good job. And then this is a super easy cleanup, only needing one ultimate there. Jovi not going to use the Earth Shatter, not even necessary, just going to charge right in and get his hammer swinging. So they have an Earth Shatter. Mavericks are getting closer and closer to a Visor. So those are two ultimates that they can use in conjunction, but they don't necessarily have to. They can get another wipe with an Earth Shatter and then hold for another fight with the Visor once they get closer to either a Valkyrie or a barrier to help support the 76 as he tries to chase for kills. So we'll see how this works out, though. He's getting very, very close to a Visor, but his Discord has to get back out of there just in time. An Earth Shatter coming down there from Crimson, and they're going to push right up. That's a cue from Midnight Six to go in, but they aren't able. They're immediately just reflected by Eclipse Esports, just reflected a little bit here from the side of Midnight Six. Now Crimson pushing up on the weight of that Earth Shatter throw down, despite only getting one kill off of it. PGE getting bounded and routed here on the side, right up against that light pole. And now the rest of the team is going down. Crimson picks up 2. This should be able to push this to the second checkpoint. And now the Visor's finally coming up from Maverick upstairs. Waited enough. There's that patience I was talking about earlier. Hot Beverage, those the only Visor 76 gets on the board. And in fact, Maverick's Visor completely shut down. No kills whatsoever. Oh, and another Earth Shatter.
Look at Aptus just go on a rampage along with all of his friends on the side of Midnight Six, just being able to give this Doomfist so much space to go in, get back out, do as much damage as humanly possible. It's a whole bunch of disruption coming on the side of Midnight Six now. Once Aptus got comfortable on the side with the Doomfist, and we're going to be able to see Midnight Six be able to throw this Graviton Surge along with Doomfist's ult as well. And here it comes. It's going to catch a lot of different people on the inside of it. There's no defensive ult to help out. Omega's going to fall on the inside of it. The Answer Graviton's going to come out as well.
Wow, just a ton of kills again popping off from this Graviton, and Hot Beverage upstairs with no one contesting him. I mean, this is an issue that both teams are somewhat having. They don't have a D.Va to get up and pressure anyone upstairs, and not even a Winston anymore to do so. PG is now switched over to a Roadhog, by the way, no longer relying on that Graviton. And now Poutine, another barrier, as he pointed out earlier, and very clutch too, as Crimson's pretty deep and trying to swing away and put people down. He might get routed, but Jovi gets on the board, and then a hook from PGE, the headshot combo up on a Crimson. And they should be defensive, holding this entirely on the defense here. 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining now on the board for Midnight Six.
Oh no! PGE just went out a little bit too far, but he wasn't expecting Aptus to take the swap over to Reaper. They're going to be able to go in off these 2 picks.
Yeah, and the counter switched over this D.Va, leaving the charge wells. Aptus was on the right, the Reaper, and then Crimson flicking the wrist with a nice fire strike onto Poutine, and now raining hell onto the shield and Earth Shatter, but there's no one there to capitalize. That's not even going to be enough. Almost a waste at this point. No one there, even though we caught both supports. But still, they're pushing up. The kill feed's still going blue, though. There's a return Earth Shatter from Crimson. He gets 2 on their backs, but they aren't entirely cleaning up that either. A Visor coming out from Hot Beverage, but it's somewhat out of the way. Not going to get too many kills. Trying Sendits coming out, trying to help him push up a little bit farther. Jovi and Crimson trading pins, but it's PG's not able to get there in time and keep the count from cleaning up the kill. They still have control of the payload, though. Now Brack, who's going back onto that familiar Widowmaker, has more kill potentials and gets a kill onto Hot Beverage. Now 4.49 meters away. Brack with another kill. A ton of damage coming out from him from long range. Still Hot Beverage, though, out and about without a Visor or out of the shield or a Visor in front of him. So he might get picked here, but it's Brack who set his sights and Aptus gets the kill. And then the Boop almost knocking Hot Beverage off. Jovi again, which seems like it's like half dozen double kill of the game, and then another fat Earth Shatter from Jovi. That could be it. I don't see Midnight Six pushing it in. They certainly don't. And that's going to be a hold from Eclipse Esports just at the end of this map before the 3rd checkpoint.
Really wise choice, like we were talking about earlier on, is that Brack took that swap over to Widowmaker, and he was just immediately causing a nuisance. You could almost see the way that the defense or the attacking team had to play just around the payload in general. Just try to gain a little bit more coverage when their Reinhardt shield wasn't around, or they didn't have anybody to protect them really from the long-range Widow sightlines. Really being a thorn in the side of Eclipse.
Yeah, it's just a ongoing trend in these games, and once the Widowmaker comes into play, you have to adapt and have a solution for it. And I believe I touched on this earlier, when you have the Reinhardt and the Zarya on offense, pushing up a little bit, or even on defense, situating yourself on the payload or towards that, end of the map, you can't deal with the Widowmaker. You have to make a change. So we did see the count changing over to D.Va just to give themselves a little bit more mobility and verticality towards the end of the map, which I think was very smart. But unfortunately, it wasn't smart enough, and it wasn't enough entirely for them to completely finish the map. So now it is up to Eclipse Esports in the blue. They have an opportunity to not only win this map without completing it, they just have to get to that golden parking spot at the end, but that also gives an opportunity to go 3-0 in this set so far.
This is going to be a pretty standard defensive hero selection coming out on the side of Midnight Six, with Aptus being the jack of all trades that he has been this entire set now on the Junkrat. Going to be able to lock down a lot of different space through Hotel, a lot of different choke points. Not going to be available for Eclipse Esports as they want to pull out the Hanzo to combo along with PGE's Graviton Surge. We were talking about follow-up on these Gravitons. There's some follow-up for you right there.
Yeah, that's so critical too. Like, sure, you can get the Graviton, it's great crowd control, but unless your Zarya's at like 100% charge and right in their faces and not getting shot down, like, you're not gonna get much off of those. So let's see which team can get towards fat combos first. You're right, there's the Dragon Surge waiting from Brack and PG, and then the Riptire and Graviton on the other side. But already the offense moving right back up here. Eclipse Esports trying to get some footing up onto the point, but both shields going down early. Brack, though, with the geometry, gets a quick scatter arrow kill onto Hot Beverage. But the count, though, already up in the forefront, just melting this front line. Also finding Yomega as he tries to scramble out of the fray, but PG returns the favor. And now that swings things back over. PG does have a Discord Orb, but has to be careful. It doesn't want to lose any of this charge. It's very deadly for both of these Zaryas to go down. They can't afford to waste any time in getting up to close to 100% charge here. PGE pushing up as far as possible, trying to do that as they see Aptus and Crimson pushing up onto him. Jovi now trying to get into their face. It's now the 1v1, and Jovi getting on and being proactive with the charge, but Aptus finding him in the corner. A Graviton and Maverick diving right in and unsheathing that sword for 3 and then getting a 4th kill onto the count. That's a fillet of fish right there coming out from Maverick, just going right down the middle and getting 3 and then more. That's going to be enough for Eclipse Esports to get it.
Yeah, with the count just getting picked off as early as he did, the spawner's advantage and the man advantage being in the favor of Eclipse Esports, you could tell PGE was just in favor with his team, just really supporting him to stay at high energy, get that Graviton Surge immediately, and it really paid off in full as they were able to get the capture point. They're not going to play too aggressive here coming onto the streets phase, with Brack trying to take the defense or the aggressive positioning to see if he can get an early pick. Will the Riptire find anybody to stop this payload in its track?
Going all the way around, and he does get Maverick. That should put the brakes on whatever this fight could be. They burned Valkyrie. Oh, unfortunately for Crimson, everyone is just booped and shoved and budged out of the way before his Earth Shatter lands cleanly. And now a Dragon just absolutely out of nowhere, not going to combo with the Graviton and not going to get any kills as a result. Now Maverick throwing down a blade, but Rocket with a very well-timed Transcendence waiting right for him. That's going to stop him from getting any kills. Hot Beverage, though, now picking up the slack as the Rocket comes out of the Transcendence, gets killed on the Poutine. PG forced the backup. He's discorded, but this Reinhardt is almost completely out of position here. I have no idea what Crimson's doing. He gets put down for the count by Brack after he picks up the 1-2 off the soldier as well. This payload once again back in motion.
And PG's going to have to be careful here. He doesn't want to have to panic Graviton Surge this. That's a big shatter. That's pretty decently. But the count's going to want to have to answer along with his Graviton Surge. They're going to be nice and healthy along with the Sound Barrier from Poutine. PGE is going to be holding on to this Graviton Surge very patiently as Brack's coming very close to his Dragon Strike. Eclipse Esports getting enough kills to get the second point as they're going to be on last year for Kings Row.
So now Eclipse Esports has their win condition and a pick to boot. They have Dragon Surge, and they're close to a Valkyrie, and they're close to a Blade. So they have one combo, they have one way to keep their team alive, and then they have a backup DPS Blade if they need it. That's going to be very hard for the defense to deal with. They only have a Valkyrie, they don't have Transcendence, they have a Visor, but Hot Beverage has to be in position for that to go down. And a Graviton only catches Aptus in wordplay, though, and the Dragon Surge coming down. He does get a couple kills, not entirely from the Surge, but nonetheless, they clean up everybody. It's only Brack and PG posting on that kill feed. Great combination, and they're still holding with the Valkyrie and a Blade, but at this point, it's just overkill. Eclipse Esports once again taking another map victory. They're up 3-0 in this set.
As you can see here on your screen, with Brack just getting all of the kills that he possibly needed into the Graviton Surge. Play of the game might as well be just the same thing as well. There's so many kills coming through this with this Dragon Strike into this Graviton Surge. They didn't have to get much further afterwards, Rapture. I mean, they only really had to get just quite a few with that Mercy dying as early and first into that combo. Easy money.
That's when life gives you mercies, you make wins. You just take them, you put them down, you blend them all up in a Graviton, and you get a nice, awesome win smoothie there. So
yeah,
I definitely love that.
Mercy are lemons in this this analogy, in case you're not following me in Rapture right now, but we're on the same page. Mercy is lemons, and you make sweet Mercy lemonade.
But that's, see, if you make a smoothie though with the lemon, that's gonna be could be a very bitter smoothie. So you might want to you want to make a playstate the palate, and have a nice diversity of fruits in our win smoothie. But Eclipse right now, it's all Eclipse. We don't have any Midnight 6 mixed in there. Just Eclipse on this win smoothie. We'll see if Midnight 6 gets a little bit more as we go into our next map, which I believe will be now a hybrid. And so hybrid maps available. I'm sorry, not hybrid. That'll be Assault. Sorry about that. Assault. So likely either Horizon or Temple of Anubis. Otherwise, we could be going to another Escort or hybrid or Control.
These two teams just really pushing each other to the brink. I mean, I know I've been saying this since Lijiang Tower, but the brawl back and forth, the chess game of who can play which hero better has been a spectacle to watch. As these two teams are getting ready for Overwatch Open Division as well, with the Overwatch League going on in our backline, this is just fantastic to watch these 3.8K teams just really pushing each other to the brinks.
Oh, this is an interesting pick here, and you might be right. This could be another example of these teams kind of pushing themselves too. Is Eclipse had marked down that their least favorite map in the game, and as well as mode, is a Horizon Lunar Colony, an Assault type map, which is where we are right now. So it could be, we're in a skirmish situation. They want to work on what they might possibly think is their least favorite or their weakest map potentially. And what better way to do that than and practice against the team that's giving you a good amount of fight here. So Midnight won the last match. See, there was the color swaps there, Ben. That's what it was. So Midnight 6, they're taking advantage of Eclipse. They realize, okay, they don't like Assault, they don't like Horizon Lunar Colony. Let's send them there, but they don't like Assault either. So it's like at this point, is it really mind games if you're throwing yourself under the bus too? I'm not entirely.
Everybody should be uncomfortable.
Why? This is why you should be running Assault in these sets, because what better way to be more comfortable on these maps than to continually play them out and grind them out.
That's really true too. I mean, I don't know if it's actually a thing too, but I mean, in my recent ladder games, I've been running into a lot of Horizon Lunar Colony. I've been getting a lot of practice on this map. Maybe it's because I've been scrimming on them a lot as myself, but yeah, this map is interesting. It gives you a lot of open space, so a lot of closed space all at the same time, a lot of small corridors to get to the open space, a lot of open space to get to small corridors. It's just a lot of opportunity to pull out a lot of fun team compositions.
And we're already seeing one of those fun compositions here on Lunar Colony, which has become very common, is the Torb Orisa. And then they're supplementing that with the Roadhog and the Moira. It's the first Moira coming out for these teams. Yo Mega popping that here for the side of Eclipse Esports here in the blue. PGE, though, finding wordplay very, very early before this fight breaks out. That's going to stop, I would say, the entirety of this push. There's really no reason to risk going in without a Mercy, but still, nevertheless, Midnight 6 are going to jockey outside the point, and they're going to pay for that as they lose the count and their mech, so that's going to stop this fight even further as we get close to the first minute mark down.
You called it out yourself, Rapture. I mean, the moment that you lose the Mercy as the entry-level frag for Eclipse Esports, you need to push and you need to get as much ult percentage as humanly possible. And it's a very unfortunate mistake on the side of Midnight 6 that they gave that opportunity to them as well.
Yeah, and now that you've lost more opportunity to build ultimate charge going into this next fight. And now we see Eclipse has getting closer to an ultimate advantage here. Almost going to have the Torb ultimate, as well as possibly a Visor coming out from Brack, who's down to 76. A hook coming out on PGE, and that's going to help combo onto Crimson. Not only have they lost Winston, they've lost their D.Va, who's going to eventually go down. And that, again, shutting down their push. They're jockeying around the point for too long and then hesitating to get onto the point, and they're losing their front line as a result. And once it seems that Eclipse have routed Midnight Six's tank line, essentially things fall apart.
Having a very hard time break past this Torbjorn as well. He did end up popping Molten Core, so we might end up seeing the Pulse Bomb being able to connect properly to break this turret apart. Wordplay is going to be able to pop that Valkyrie, hopefully at the beginning of this team fight, to push his team onto the point and to get the resurrections needed to keep this team into the mid-fight. But not with Aptus falling that early as well. And with Wordplay getting picked off by the turret as well, they're having a very difficult time getting even to this point.
And that's such a crucial kill on the Wordplay, who is of course sitting on this Mercy Valkyrie, but I mean they're making it very obvious that Wordplay is at risk at all times and is constantly going to be gunned down no matter anytime they poke their heads. And that's going to be a problem too, because Brack is going to be sitting on the visor, which means he's going to be looking for this Valkyrie upstairs flying around, and then the Coalescence going to be waiting for Omega for the grounded forces who come down pushing up onto the point itself. So this will be very hard, I think, for the Midnight Six to push up here as they're readying and trying to figure their way up onto this point. They're moving towards the left underground, lower left side here. Brack is waiting upstairs and certainly going to pop this visor once this thing's break out. Hot Beverage, though, with a quick kill onto the turret, but it's only the turret. It's not entirely worth it for a Pulse Bomb, and now a bomb coming down, another bomb being thrown without any kills coming through. Aptus, though, one on a barrage, just one kill for 3 ultimates. Not great value, but still, they are getting the kills raw. They don't entirely need these ultimates to hold it down. Yo Mega had a Coalescence, but it's not going to keep this team alive. Everyone goes down, and Brack, for whatever reason, holding his visor that entire time, not getting any kills there, and eventually does essentially rendered obsolete for the rest of this fight, and that's going to be a completion here for Midnight Six.
Yeah, that might have been a mistake on the side of Brack's part, too. He might have been pushed into a very awkward positioning on the or Midnight Six might have been that on point of just making him feel that pressure not to pull it out. And like I said, Wordplay was just able to pull out that Valkyrie and just get the resurrections needed to push his team into the mid-fight, onto the point, and capture it as well.
And that's another potential weakness, or not potential, definite weakness of, doing a builder strat, is that especially once the builder loses their structure, they're essentially useless unless they have their ultimate. But also it's so easy to get, the mobility on the Orisa and Torb. Now Brack finally does pop that visor, but it's still not getting a ton of value here. He is going to peel this Crimson Monkey, but he gets the Primal Rage out and then hooked by PGE, thrown back into the fight. Maybe out of his consent, but nonetheless doing a bunch of work once he's in the fight. Hot Beverage getting one. Yo Mega going down. Hot Beverage for 2. Aptus trying to put down this discorded piggy here. And it is going to be Hot Beverage who picks up a triple kill. The last one there onto PGE. And everything's going to the entirety of this kill feed on the red side. But Jovi is still staying alive long enough to allow the rest of this team to get back onto the point. Even though Aptus does clean him up, he was there long enough for his rest of his team to get back onto it. Now Yo Mega does pull a res, and that puts Jovi back onto the point again. As long as Jovi stays alive, they should be able to continue to stagger this. But he's going to eventually go down as he has this Discord on him. But no one's focusing until finally Aptus finds him, and that's going to be enough to blow down the blade. Now that Jovi's dead, no one's going to be able to bully the rest of the team off of the point. It's now Brack and this Mercy going on, but Yo Mega throw it down before he even gets onto it. This Tracer also went down as well. That's an entire completion. And Midnight 6, with 3 minutes and 4 seconds of the board, do complete.
Man, Hot Beverage almost putting the entire team on his back there. They wanted to even pop the Transcendence just to res him back. I mean, he was getting so much damage out of the way that all it took was either one slash or just a little bit of electricity from Winston's Tesla cannon, and that was just that second point on Winston on Horizon Lunar Colony, along with 3 minutes in the time bank as well. This is sitting pretty if I've ever seen it on the side of Midnight Six.
Yeah, they really can't be worried here. But I mean, Eclipse is doing very well this entire set, so I wouldn't be surprised if they really give Midnight Six a run for their money on over here on Horizon Lunar Colony. Eclipse Esports, we still haven't seen anything out for them just entirely yet here. I mean, sure, they got the thing is about, once you run the type of comp they ran on point A with the Orisa and Torb, not only are they dislodged their positioning, but they have to give up all the alt charge they have. They have to give up their characters and switch over, so that delays their defensive hold even further. And essentially all they got was a stagger, especially because there were so many ultimates waiting on the side of Midnight Six to push right in. All they really had was Brack's visor on the side of Eclipse Esports to hold them off, and that really wasn't enough. So now for Midnight Six, they did post those 2 points in 3 minutes and 4 seconds left on the clock. So, I mean, they're not, like you said, they're sitting pretty. They're very comfortable. They don't really have to worry too much about this first point because They're not. They doesn't seem like a composition they should entirely change off of here. They do have the Arista, but they're not running a Torb. So this is a composition that could pretty fairly transition safely into the second point of this map. So I don't think they're completely out of this, even if they lose this first point early.
Yeah, Midnight Six not taking any chances here. They're not going to go for any builders. They're just going to stick Aptus on that Junkrat, just make him feel nice and comfortable, try to hold down as many chokes as possible. But Brack's going to be showing that Widowmaker, maybe punishing them for not having a thick shield or a lot of dive opportunities. The Count's going to have a lot of work on his side.
Yeah, absolutely true. Hot Beverage not going to, I mean, long-range hit scan, but not a counter for Widowmaker here. So it's going to be up to the Count to really get up there, as Aptus not going to be able to do much either. Rocket may want to be able to get a Discord onto them, but has a bunch of other targets that he really has to pay attention to as well. PG leading the charge upstairs with this Roadhog, just kind of looking around, feeling things out, trying to get a little bit of scouting done. Throws down a hook. It's Hot Beverage, but because of the altitude there he has on the bridge, not going to get too much off of that. Not good trajectory. And now the rest of this team has moved to the right side of this perimeter. It is Midnight Six holding Harsh right outside with this shield, and a good job by the Count, not staying away from the rest of his team. But unfortunately, he doesn't get there in time to get rid of PG, who takes out Aptus. And now Brack and a snowball on that takes on Hot Beverage. And entirely of his team has now found their way onto the point. Hot Beverage is res back into the fray though. Poutine in the back line. He has to be careful of Hot Beverage, who's right on his right and is pocketed. Might get the pick on him. No one's still on the point holding onto it. Jovi gets a kill onto Rocket. That means he's going to not be even close enough to pick up the Transcendence. And now a High Noon getting Poutine. Aptus finding Jovi. The chain healing, keeping the Crimson Count, the Count and Beverage hot and alive on this point. PG though with a big hook, taking care of Aptus despite being pocketed. And then the Fires. Oh wow, nice Earth Fire Strike and PG combo to get rid of Wordplay. And this is going to be a full sweep here. Midnight Six getting bodied. And now 6 minutes and 20 seconds on the board here for Eclipse.
Wow, that was a lot of pressure. Unfortunately, Brack on the Widowmaker did fall early on in that team fight before they capture it. He's going to get the far spawn. But all of the pressure you saw early on in that fight was almost immensely put on the team fight.
And it sounded like Jovi even burned an Earth Shatter there. Meanwhile, upstairs, Junkrat raining down some fire, not getting contested here whatsoever. We see a whole hog getting rained down, but still, it's just Junkrat putting a ton of damage in the background. Now we have a McCree holding down Hot Beverage, trying to pick up a couple kills and finding some heads to click. And now falling back, the defense is going to stabilize here for now. Midnight Six getting what they need to at least get some breathing room.
And that might have just been the factor that I was already talking about. Before that team fight even started, I saw that PGE had already gotten a pretty nice hook, but the Widowmaker wasn't even there. He was not even near the point at all to pressure them like they had for that entirety of the first. But here we go. The whole team is together now. See if any team can get any initiation. Soundbarrier is going to push them onto the point.
Oh, PG pushing right up and has the Mercy right in his sights, trying to chase him down, but gets stunned, has to fall back, throws down the healing. Meanwhile, Poutine picking up that Mercy as he tries to get away. It's Brack upstairs, finding the Genji. Hot Beverage with a High Noon, and he gets two! Both on PG and the Yo Mega, and putting him out a good amount of pressure right through that shield, too. And that, again, is going to stun this offensive push. Brack, here we go, upstairs, and then the High Noon, 1-2. Very quick and easy, and now we're going to get closer to more of a defensive hold here as Maverick also goes down. 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on the clock.
Such a good High Noon on the side of Hot Beverage. He's been, both hit scan mains have been very, very patient on the side of popping their ultimates, on the one exception of Brack holding on to his attack visor a little bit too earlier on the defense. But on the other hand, both teams just being very patient with each other, pulling out clutch when they need to.
Yeah, Maverick might be able to clutch here with this Riptire he's holding onto as they transition towards the left white room. His biodiversity room for sure. And now they've gotten a little bit of leverage on this left side here. Here comes Maverick with the Riptire. Delaying. Holding. Now getting right in. Oh, saunters around, tries to juke. Can't get the entire kill, but he does combo with the help of Aptus to get the slice and dice. Gets the kill, and now he tries to get more, but he can't without any more damage, get any more kills off that. And Maverick is going to get res back into the fight. Aptus still trying to chase down. Thankfully, though, his helpful monkey there going to get a little bit of a kill. Aptus still throwing down some residual fire. PGE trying to capitalize on that. Gets a hook, throwing the D.Va mech right into their faces, and they're going to try and get that D-mech. That would be very helpful to shut down the rest of this point, but instead, a D.Va bomb right into his face. He's getting out in time. Unfortunately, Yo Mega is unable to do so. PGE trying to clean up this Winston, and at 63 HP is able to do so, holding on for dear life right now in this corner. And now Aptus can help reset this as well. Great job here, still holding on the side of Midnight Six.
I don't know how well you can hide around that corner there, PG. I mean, especially as a Roadhog. I mean, we can hear you breathing. Just you got to be a little more quiet, man.
I mean, at this kind of like stressful, high intensity fights, you're gonna hear those heartbeats, those palpitations you're trying to hold on here. Aptus, though, finding this offensive team as they push upstairs, gonna try and convert on them and dive ram, but here comes the visor being popped here from Brack. Maverick gets on the board first, though. Hot Beverage getting very close to a visor of their own, but it's Rocket silencing Brack with a headshot. Brack gets back in with it, but he's immediately rushed down by this Raging Monkey of Crimson. Hot Beverage, though, still holding on to this visor, throwing one down, gets a kill onto the Monkey, looking for more, can't get one. Now he's right in the face of this Diva as he tries to run around his own Diva, that is, hot at the count, holding on to a Diva Bomb, which you should be able to drop on this point as this fight simmers down for now. Just under 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and now it's just up to Midnight Six to continue to build these ultimates as they wait for these offensive pushes to come to them.
And as you can see at the top part of your screen as well, Midnight Six already winning in favor of the time advantage as they're finally going to get rid of PGE onto the side of this Diva. Poor little baby Diva. The Chronicles of baby Diva being staggered in assault maps. It's unfortunate.
They shouldn't worry about it too much, though, because they're both sitting on an ult, if not about to be. And that could be a defining factor, you know, pushing these teams off of the payload and force them into cover, or into really more tight-knit situations where like a blade could cut them up, or they could get pulse bombed or something like that. But we still need to build those ultimates as well. Aptus, though, picking up Poutine pretty early there, and that forces out the resurrection from Yo Mega, putting her body on the line there. But Brack getting rid of Aptus, that's their cue to go in. Here comes Eclipse Esports trying to get and stop this timer from going down any farther. Now I believe a visor being, not a visor, but at least a Diva Bomb. That's not going to connect on anybody. Here comes a response Diva Bomb. Going to get onto Maverick. Big pick there. A resurrection from Yo Mega to get Maverick back into the fight. And Maverick's nowhere near a blade. It's Aptus who's near one. And they don't have a Zenyatta on the side of Eclipse to stop it when it comes out. Here is Aptus throwing down the blade. Looking for the Lucio. He gets it. Looking for more. Yo Mega's right outside that. Looking for the Transcendence. But, oh, Aptus not able to clean up the kill. Crimson, though, gets the job done. Brack with a pulse bomb onto the count. They only have a Winston to try and bully the rest of this team off the point. Poutine getting slapped around by Crimson, and the defense holding again. Not only this, but Jovi might get staggered here, as well as this Lucio. That's a big loss. Jovi and Maverick getting staggered, so this is going to really put the kibosh on this next upcoming fight. It's really going to put it down to sub 30 seconds. Pretty much one more attempt.
Yeah, and only with one more team fight remaining, Maverick is going to have to pull out clutch again with this entry blade again. Poutine's going to be able to combo along with that sound barrier. He might be wise to hold that in the back part of his pocket for Hot Beverage, as he's going to have that tactical visor. The count will be able to use that self-destruct to clear everybody off this point. You're going to see how they're going to be able to come in here. Brack setting up a hard flank over here in the Biodome.
Yeah, and Brack harassing in the back layer and trying to give Maverick some room because he is sitting on a blade, and he also has a barrier to help that out with Poutine. But Transcendence coming out from Rocket almost too early there, popping, and no ultimates have been thrown down yet, so Maverick waits and waits until it's done, and now the blade's super effective right there. The blade to Omnic, that's a great matchup for that. 2 times, 4 times damage, and now the rest of his kill feed going entirely blue here. Brack trying to hunt down this Mercy, helps, gets a kill with Jovi, a pulse bomb, getting rid of this mech, putting down for the count, and that should be enough for this full push here in overtime. But nonetheless, Eclipse could be able to get this. The defense trying to get back onto it. Rocket now on the Moira, a Diva Bomb from upstairs, putting down Aptus. Brack helping silencing the rest of these peasants, and that could be enough here for Eclipse Esports to get onto the board and make this a 2-2 game, a 2-2 map. Let's see if they can hold on to this. But the defense, they're still closer. They do have a little bit of an advantage here, at least distance-wise. And timing-wise, too, depending on how many bodies are on the point from the offense. Maverick, though, PG getting on the board. Here comes the blade here from Aptus. Could this be at the clutch moment they need to clean up some kills and stop this offensive push? But no, Brack puts that down and shuts that up. And that's going to be... Oh, Eclipse Esports, they're still not done yet, but they need to complete this here. Somehow, the Midnight Six still holding on. It's Primal Rage from Crimson. Protein, though, throwing down the barrier as Crimson gets ragdolled off the point. Maverick getting a blade. Brack putting down the count after it gets demeched. And both teams now holding at 2-2. But if they want to agree to it, it could be Midnight Six going for a final attempt. Either way, though, they do get the time lead, so they did technically win this map, essentially. But they might go for another defensive hold. But still, a great job there to finish it up.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, back and forth. What a brawl on that second point it was. I mean,
Mhm.
you saw two different favoritisms coming out of assault maps, and their variety is Lucio being able to get all of the AoE heals out, as everybody just needs to be around that one central objective point on the second point there. And you also saw the spawn advantage being able to hold on as long as humanly possible. Wordplay was so close to getting that Valkyrie out to making a huge impact to combo along with Aptus on that Dragon Blade that it might have turned around the team fight, but the attack was just way too strong. Just way too strong.
Well, can we see I guess a reflection of that strength here as we go into this final round? And because of the situation where they only need one tick on the point, just one, that's it. So I doubt we'll see a tie situation here, but Midnight 6, they have an opportunity to kind of steal away a game here before this set wraps up. Only one tick, they only need 1/3 of this. And they've switched things up just a little bit. They have the count on the Roadhog. Aptus pulling out a Pharah and a Hot Beverage Reaper. So they're really just pulling out all the stops here, trying to make anything work here. They have a bunch of time to work with, but it is Overwatch. 3 minutes can get chewed away as fast as they built it up. And let's see what the defense is holding here as they go for an entirely defensive dive composition. Now they're going to contest on this left side here as they see this death ball moving slowly but surely to the bottom right corridor. And they're going to reposition to deal with that. Now the defense are finding themselves somewhat out of position as they split up. But they're going to try and carve this team. Unfortunately, Maverick going in before the rest of the team can supplement him. And he dies early to that rocket. Zenyatta. And now the D.Va getting demech from PGA. They're just losing all their resources before things get going. The defense, unfortunately, they've really lost a lot of bodies before this fight really ever got going. Really before it ever got wheels under the shoulders. Really under the carriage.
Being caught out there too. I mean, this just might be an early contestment here.
I think that could be it. PG is pretty much the last one alive here in terms of damage. Brack, though, actually gets a nice kill into Rocket, but that's going to be immediately erased and removed there from Wordplay's res. We still have the Poutine Lucio, though, causing trouble and keeping the heals alive now. Now 3 bodies in the point, but Maverick gets bodied by Aptus, Hot Beverage finding Brack, PGE getting fire struck, and then for good measure, the Death Blossom out for Hot Beverage, a team kill, a completion, and that is that. Midnight 6 does get on the board there, and a nice wrap-up to what I thought was a very fun set between these two teams.
Very back and forth, very brawl-like style it was, but it just a really, I guess, again, like an atonement to how much backline pressure each team can commit, so that way you can get a good ultimate off on either the Genji or Soldier 76 to really capitalize on either a point contention if it's a hybrid or an escort map, or even on all these assault maps. It's very important just to keep your supports nice and healthy and in a good position.
Yeah, you got to be able to know when to commit to diving on a particular opponent or staying with your backline, being able to support them in terms of throwing out a matrix, throwing out a shield, throwing out a bubble, whatever, or peeling for them. So, being able to have that management in terms of your attention and resources is very key to getting farther throughout these sets. But yeah, great job for both of these teams. Put on some really awesome sets. We had a really close Lijiang Tower that went to 3 rounds. We had some maps that get completed, some maps not get completed, and we'll see if they continue to hold. They might do just one more map here. Wordplay teasing that a little bit, but we did get a GG from Maverick, so we'll be holding it down still. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I know it's a big night for Overwatch. Broadcast.gg. That's where you are right now, doing another Road to Open Division show matches. Broadcast.gg Scrim Nights, being joined here by Pokemon Panda. Panda, thanks. This has been a fun time casting with you. I hope we get one more map.
I'm always so happy to cast along with you, Rapture. I mean, just the hypeness going back and forth. I mean, it's just very, very fun, especially with these two 3.8K teams really duking it out here on all these different map variants, pushing each other to the brink, like we said earlier. Just really seeing if they can learn new things off of each other, prepare for a new meta, or just overall just hone their skills on their current comfort.
And to finish things up here on this set, we are going to go to a 5th and final map here to see, well, Eclipse Esports can make it a 4-1. That'd be nice. Or Midnight 6, making it a 3-2 set, which would be a really solid best of 5, essentially, we could end up with. But yeah, we are going back to Control for one more time. It is going to be Nepal being our final locale in this set. We are, in fact, ready to go here, so can't wait for them to go in. Tail Yellow, might be changing out here for Jovi for one more swap here for Eclipse Esports. And I believe Eclipse mentioning that they might be doing tryouts for this set. So I believe we've seen this before where teams are not only changing things up in terms of, running different subs, but also literally trying out teams. And not only doing that, but some teams finding success even though they're running compositions that they're literally brand new because they have a player they've never played with before.
Yeah, and this might just be it too. Bringing back in Tailspin, or I'm sorry, Tail Yellow. I'm just getting excited over Overwatch League and professional play. Oh my God, look at me. Bringing back in Tail Yellow. They want to bring back in their full roster more than likely, or as close to their full roster as humanly possible, to really bring out the practice in the Scrim Night casting night, and just see if they can pull out another win here.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. A little bit of a closer... See, that's the thing, is that it's misleading where, it'll be a closer set if Midnight 6 wins and makes it 3-2. But, don't let the numbers fool you just because 3-1. And this has been that's a pretty solid, very, very close set. Both of these teams could easily have been walking away with this. So that's why I'm happy we're seeing a 5th map, because we saw a very close Lijiang Tower that went to 3 variations, went to 3 stages. So we can see that again from Nepal, which... On this first stage of Sanctum, we are seeing Crimson going with the Orisa, Tail Yellow going with the Orisa, the Count going with Roadhog, PGE going with Roadhog, Hot Beverage going with the Junkrat, PGE going with the Junkrats, or Maverick going with the Junkrats. So they're running just very tried and true Nepal Sanctum picks here, looking for the cheesiest, most gimmicky kills they can possibly get.
And Tail Yellow is just going to push his way to the point almost immediately. That's the power of the Junkrat. They're going to be able to keep the space immediately, but the hook coming through. Hot Beverage going down. PGE getting answered to a hook on the other end. Poutine gonna get the move onto Crimson. What is going on so far? My God.
It is actually almost too nutty to keep up with here. Maverick trying to chase down a couple kills here on this inside room, trying to get a little bit of leverage as he hides and peeks around these corners, taking advantage of this advanced geometry. Meanwhile, the Count looking for kills and gets a nice hook kill onto Tail Yellow, disposing of him and shoveling him off the point. They're going for some right clicks, trying to just foray with this other Roadhog. Almost gets halted out inside of his own Orisa, but doesn't come through, doesn't hit true. Sitting on a whole hog here too, so that's going to be a great displacement ultimate. Dare Eclipse Esports try to jump onto the point and contest them as they approach the 20% mark here.
The only scary thing is that is... Oh no, what a hook! The Count getting PGE again!
Big hooks, big bodies, big hooks. The Count making it look easy. Brack did get a nice high noon kill onto Wordplay. That should give him a cue to jump right up onto this. A halt, though, not going to dislodge anyone and displace him off the point. And then another hook. He almost gets pushed off, too. Almost halted off is the Count. No displacement environmental kills so far yet on this next fight. Still sitting on this whole hog, though, as this throws down the barrage. PG getting a kill onto that, silencing him. Here comes a Riptire from Maverick. Trying to go and round on the outside, but he can't deke around the Hot Beverage's left clicks. Now the Count throwing down a whole hog onto Orisa, but he's pocketed, boosted up onto the air. Oh, it's sitting at less than 200 HP, could get thrown down, but Hot Beverage with the supply and demand all the way down, shooting those bombs out of the pipe from far range, getting a kill down onto Lucio, and sitting on another Riptire here, forcing back the opposing Junkrat and pushing up for more.
The Count is being such a hard anchor inside this team on Sanctum here. This has been ridiculous. I mean, you can just see all the pressure he's creating out of his whole hog to hook everybody around. They tried booping him, it didn't work. They tried halting him off, it didn't work. They just can't kill this guy. Look at him hooking PGE again. Oh,
Brack, though, coming in to steal this point, but now he's by himself. He does get the defense kind of away from their spawn, which is helpful. Oh, and the Count. Oh, man, the Count trying to get a hook onto PG gets booped instead and almost got PG on the hook. And then Rocket booping off Brack. Here come the cheesiness, the switch cheese. Nice pepper jack on the side there for these teams. And now, just in time, Eclipse Esports hitting that 10% mark on this percentage here. 92% for Midnight 6.
Much obliged.
Yeah, and as the two teams are just trying to take back the point, a smart move on Midnight 6 just to end the team fight right there. They're up at 92%. They're going to have the Valkyrie while Yomega on the side of Eclipse won't. They're going to take this hard flank coming around all the way on the side. I'm going to be able to see if Maverick's going to be able to get all the pressure he needs, but the Count answering back with the whole hog and to see if there's any combination along with the sound barrier going to be popped just for safe measure. Riptire going down. Will it find anybody?
Yeah, it does. Yep, it does find the Orisa, and then Brack combining for the high noon. But no one's on the point. it's just going to be the Midnight Six that are occupying it and getting a bunch of kills as they convert onto that completion and almost, I mean, they just steal it right away there. It looked like the team fight was going in the way of Eclipse Esports, and the Midnight Six is kind of just not dilly-dallying, just kind of waddling up onto the point. And then once they got it, the entirety of Eclipse Esports kind of scrambled a little bit, and they got killed as a bunch of ultimates popped from the center of that point. So as we move over to Nepal Temple, we're seeing a 1-0 lead here for Midnight Six.
Yeah, it's almost like you said too. I mean, just the amount of cheese felt from that map was just heinous, ridiculous. The count just going uncontested for so long, hooking everything in sight. It was just a very, very scary situation.
3, 2, 1.
Let's
See
what
any
these
swaps
teams-
coming through.
Yeah, see what they break out with. PGE going back to the Zarya. So interesting. I mean, they're going for dive, but instead of a diva, they're going for Zarya. So I feel like that might be a bit of a conflict of interest, but nevertheless, they do have an opportunity for the black hole combination with Zarya and Tracer pulse, ultimate combinations. Meanwhile, on the other side, Aptus still on the Pharah. Going to use this openness outside the point to rain down Hot Justice from above. Meanwhile, Hot Beverage still staying on this Tracer, so it'll be... See, if Aptus was on the other side, he'd be combining great with PG Zarya, but that's not the case. But both teams, different win conditions here. The dive team of the side of Midnight Six kind of just going for raw individual ults here, but they are running the Mercy Zenyatta, which is interesting because Yomeg and Poutine still committing to the Mercy and Lucio, even despite possibly running what you would think maybe is the weaker, support composition, especially with Dive 2. They're still having more overall success compared to the Mercy Zenyatta being ran by Midnight Six.
Yeah, it's a little off meta, that's for sure. I mean, Poutine's gonna be able to bring around the sound barrier faster than Rock can get his transcendence, but at the end of the day, really, speed is just not a cut course in the dive scenario as much as Discord Orb is. It just puts a lot of damage into your tanks where they just can't create enough space.
Wordplay, waiting with that Valkyrie, gets Rocket up, and then Rocket rose from the grave and picks off Maverick. Aptus all the way out, gets a nice double barrage kill off of that ultimate usage, and now he's trying to float his way back up onto the fight. Hot Beverage looking for more with the help of this diva, looking for Poutine. He does pick up the kill as he was discorded, and now creating a ton of room, and now he finds a 76 retreating. He also has the Discord Orb onto him. Another great stagger. So they've lost two squishy, not only squishies, but long range and support characters on a stagger instead of buy a bunch of time here on the side of Midnight Six.
Yeah, we're going to be able to see Yomega's going to be able to have that Valkyrie online soon on the side of Eclipse Esports. We're going to be able to see if that's going to push him into the mid fight. Maybe combo along with Maverick and PGE. We don't want to see too many ults used in this team fight because they don't have any percentage gains so far on this control meter. And they want to be able to really cement themselves into this fight. Don't want to get caught out there, Brack.
Yeah, Eclipse
There's
might
cross
get caught using all of these ultimates to get onto the point, right? Brack does regroup with this team. And the Pulse Bomb, though, from Hot Beverage. That is a silencer if I've ever seen one. He gets a quad kill. Hot Beverage popping off, combining off that Pulse Bomb for two more. What a play there. When you see the replay, just like scramble off over into the staircase, and then he takes the opportunity, fat Pulse Bomb, and then the 1-2 punch right after it. We're back on with Hot Beverage, who's still harassing upstairs, now diving in, looking for the blade. He's super low though, and the Graviton, Maverick is unable to get there in time to complete and only gets one kill into Wordplay. He doesn't go down though. Maverick hanging on for dear life until Aptus finally puts him down for the count. Now Brack throwing down the visor, gets one, but again shoved down and thrown and concussed by the count, and picks up a two-piece, putting down tail yellow as well. And look at the Zarya, also getting an assist on the Aptus. Rocket, a ton of shots onto this Mercy, who Aptus now has his sights on. He's going to try and put some shots down with these rockets from above. Finding the Tracer, a direct hit, and force them to use Rewind. Now is setting his sights onto the Discord of Lucio with the help of that Tracer. Hot Beverage gets the kill. The count still doing a ton of damage, building up a ton of ultimate here. Gets the Diva Bomb on the other side of this pillar. That could be enough to pick up some kills or get some zoning. It does. And throwing down Tail Yellow to a one shot, one kill, and now another victory. Midnight Six taking a very, very swift Nepal, making it look easy. And they push this set very respectively in the end to a 3-2 score against Eclipse Esports.
Then we're going to see Hot Beverage here with the play of the game.
I like it.
It's probably this quad kill that we were exactly just talking about. This stick right here, picking up both supports, just really just going back in, going ham through this choke line. He just honestly, all over the place, this entire control map. It was very scary.
Yeah, Midnight Six. I think Midnight Six really showing that they can be a very strong team on King of the Hill. Tail Yellow getting a nice 5 votes there on the card. Even the count almost getting close to that. 4 environmental kills. But yeah, great job for both of these teams. Midnight Six still making it a great set, not going down 4 or 5-0, but making it 3-2, a nice best of 5 from these teams. And I like that. Despite it being 3-1, they still went to a 5th map. So great job from both of these teams, Eclipse and Midnight Six. Panda, any takeaways from the set?
That dive is just some of the most incredible stuff in the known universe. I mean, when you see Pharah just honing in rockets from point to the choke line, you have no time, no opportunity to really get yourself properly healed up. And by that time, you just have hot beverage into the side, just tracer bombing you all into the shadow realm, as you like to say. I mean, it's true in this situation, man. It's scary to see. You just need a little bit more protection for that backline, and you know, it's really just an atonement to what Overwatch is really all about. You know, the counter picks coming through properly, and picking and choosing your dive targets correctly to tear apart the enemy team.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely good observation there. And Panda, it has been a very solid time casting with you tonight. Glad we got to get a full 5 games. Definitely enjoyed it like last time. And shout outs to Ben, who's a great producer tonight. Also with the solid spectator cam we got in Discord. That was really awesome. So thank you for doing that. That was really sick. I love that.
Yeah, no problem.
So thank you guys both for doing that. Of course, both teams, Midnight Six and Eclipse Esports, putting on a really good set. Any final words from you, Panda?
None whatsoever. It's been a true honor. I always look forward to doing these castings. I appreciate you all hanging out with us here. Again, my name's PKM and Panda, and I look forward to doing this all again with you, Rapture, sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely. Let's pass it off to our man Ben. Ben, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Oh,
Eddie? Oh no.
Ben.
Yeah.
We've lost him.
Either way, our producer Ben though. He's there doing a great job here tonight. I'm glad he was able to put this together for us. And,
wait, I've been talking.
Oh, you have? Because we.
I think.
I think I was accidentally muted in Discord.
You might have been. All right, there you go, everyone. Ben, there you go.
Woo. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Close to that Earth Shatter. We're going to be interested to see how this Riptire comes out and see if it picks up anybody.
Oh, looking for and gets. So now they're sitting pretty comfortable. Tail Yellow now poking his way around the corner. Crimson's out a little farther. A Graviton's thrown behind him and a charge coming out, but it's Brack who gets the double kill on the pulse bomb. PG and Maverick also combining for kills. It's just Hot Beverage left on the point just outside the perimeter. He gets gunned down and kills, and he does get the help of Hot Beverage and Aptus. Yomega though immediately reversing and erasing those kills, but then Hot Beverage puts him back down. And getting a third on the Riptire kill. A hugely clutch play from Hot Beverage to keep his team in this game.
He got a whole bunch of key targets down to win that control point.
Oh, a Diva Bomb from outside the point, or from inside outside the point. PGE connecting on almost two casually there. And now they're going to push out to try and push the advantage. Aptus going down. I didn't even catch that one, but I think they were trying to fight.
Pretty little bit aggressive here. Will Genji pull out his Dragon Blade to combo along with the sound barrier?
Oh, nice job by the count on top of PG. So when the defense matrix came out,
hanging out on the Zenyatta with Aptus still on the Pharah, and Brack really the only person to dig too much damage into him.
Ooh,
not a whole lot of pressure.
PG
Continues being a nuisance in the backline, crushing all the pressure. Wordplay's just gonna pop this Valkyrie just to keep everybody nice and healthy up on the point. An early entry pickoff, if you will, to Maverick as well, and this team fight might be over before it even starts.
Hot Beverage is literally peeling the entire team here. Round of Lijiang Tower so far, even though the percentages are getting close. Crimson to get another double kill to seal the deal, and that'll be it just at the 52% mark here for. And still getting close to that Valkyrie is Yomega. Tail Yellow back in the fray, jumping around and almost getting with the help of Brack. Hot Beverage does go down, and Brack, who had switched over to this trade. There's no Zenyatta waiting for him. There's no Transcendence waiting for him. So he could get a clean blade right here. And now he's moving right up onto the point. This fight is breaking out in the White Room. A Diva Bomb just inside, and it picks up.
No, once he's going to get answered immediately, but he's not going to go through with it. He knew. A hot beverage getting the space, so he's gonna get Omega immediately.
This fight back in their way. Aptus is back in the fight. Hot beverage taking out Maverick, but a tactical visor being dropped down. Brack though jumps down to complete the rest of it. Won't have anything to deal with that. Buddy just throws it down. Now that he has an opportunity to try and clean up some kills. He gets PGE and he gets Maverick just beforehand. There's no one else to leave him behind and get some. Comes from above. That's not going to connect on anybody. The count not finding anyone there. Tail Yellow getting rid of Hot Beverage. Aptus still trying to get rid of these squishies. They have a visor, but Hot Beverage has to be in position for that to go down. And a Graviton only catches Aptus in wordplay though. And the Dragon Surge coming down to the fight. Maybe out of his consent, but nonetheless doing a bunch of work once he's in the fight. Hot Beverage getting one. Yomega going down. Hot Beverage for 2. Aptus trying to put down this. The chain healing, keeping the Crimson count, the count and Beverage hot and alive on this point. PG though with a big hook, taking the ball back, throws down the healing. Meanwhile, Poutine picking up that Mercy as he tries to get away. It's Brack upstairs, finding the Genji. Hot Beverage with a high noon, and he gets 2. Zenyatta on the side of Eclipse to stop it when it comes out. Here is Aptus throwing down the blade, looking for the Lucio.